Hello 7th and 8th graders. This is a review of the D major scale. If you see how I've set my staff lines up here and you'd like to know how to get to this point, go ahead and check out the review videos that I have also on this page, and that'll show you what these things are called and how I put them on my staff. Reminders that this top one has a treble clef, so this is for violin. The middle has an alto clef for viola, and this bottom one is for both cello and bass because it is a bass clef. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my D major scale, and I know that I'm going to start off first with D on each one of my staffs. So here is where D is on the various staffs for where I'm going to go. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to climb up like a ladder. So my first one here is on a space, my next is going to be on the line. Then I have my space, and then I have a line. And I'm just climbing up just like a ladder. Do that for my violas and for my cellos and bass. Alright, so this point I'm going to go back and name these notes. So I know that I started on D since I'm doing D major. This is E, F, and G. And we'll come back to the F in just a minute. You can go ahead and label those all the way down. For each clef, you will need to worry about yours though. It's good to know that the other ones exist, and that if you play cello that you can see that this is an alto clef and it belongs to a viola, but you don't need to know how to read those notes yet. The next thing I want to do is I want to go up on my A string for violin, viola, and cello, and further up on the G string if I'm bass, and I'm going to complete the rest of my scale. So I'm going to go next to my space, so that for violin, so that will be A. I've reached the middle line of my staff, so I'm going to switch my stem to face down. Space, line. Okay, I'm on a line, so the next one is space. And at this point, I've run out, so I have to use what we call a ledger line. I have to draw myself a little baby line, and that's where my next line note is going to go. Then I need to go above the line, and then I'm going to add 2 lines this time and put it on the second line. Okay, and then for cello and bass, I'm on a space, so my next one's a line. Then a space. I use my ledger line, and then use the space above the ledger line. Okay, and I'll go ahead and label them, and here is my A, B, C, and D. I'll label those all the way down. Now at this point, this is not yet a D major scale, and the reason why is because D major actually has 2 sharps in it. It has the sharp on the F and the sharp on the C. Now sometimes you're going to see this sharp put right in front of the note as an accidental. But that's not what I'm going to do right now. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put that in my key signature. So if I'm playing violin, my first sharp is always going to be on this top line, and that's for F. And then for C sharp, I'm going to go ahead and put it in that second space that lines up with that C. The reason I don't put it down here on this bottom F for this F is because this applies to all Fs, whether they're up high or down low. So this is just the accepted spot that we're going to put that so that it's easier to read and it kind of keeps it out of the way. If I am viola, I put things a little bit too close to the time signature there. I'm going to put my first F sharp right there. And then for you guys, your C sharp is actually going to go on the middle line like that. Sorry, that's a little bit close. And then for cello and bass, again, it's a little close. I'm going to move the time signature out of the way. You would normally keep the time signature there, but I want you to be able to see it. So I'm going to put my F right on the line where the dots surround, and then I'm going to put my C sharp in the space below the middle line. Okay, and that's how I'm setting up my key signature for D major. And then to complete my scale, I'd walk my notes back down. So I'd do a D again and walk them back down. Oops, need to change my stem around. Put my stem in the wrong place. When I get below the middle line of my staff, I change the direction of my stem so that it stays within the middle of my staff. That's why. It just keeps the page a little cleaner. And then we'll do the viola one. There's viola, and then we'll do cello and bass. And what's nice is that since I used a key signature instead of accidentals, I don't actually have to draw those labels in the middle of my scale for the sharps that I need, because they are already set as a rule at the beginning. So hopefully that gets you set up for your D major scale. Don't forget that these are now sharped because I put the sharps at the beginning of my scale. Hope that helps.